Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're back on PL and we're going to do a water pump and head gasket. So PL is my Rover Mini Cooper Sport 5 and it's got a leaking water pump. I done the water pump just over a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure with exactly the same water pump as I'm replacing now, which is a Mini Spares Evo water pump. So it's slightly upgraded. It has a composite impeller which reduces the amount of mass on the pulley, and they're generally meant to be pretty good, but unfortunately mine is leaking on PL, and I could probably try and dig out the old paperwork because I have a 3-year guarantee on these, but I'm not sure why it's leaking. But let's get it off and let's have a look. And I think while we're there, I'm going to do a head gasket on PL as well. Now again, I did only do the head gasket a couple of years ago. The head was skimmed, it was pressure tested, everything seemed okay on it, but it just does seem to pressurize up quite a lot. Not too much, I don't think, but I just want a bit of peace of mind. So I'm conscious that the water pump has gone again. The water pump seal has gone, so I think the seal's gone between the inner bearing and the outer bearing, because I'm pretty sure it's dripping out of this hole in the bottom, which is a telltale sign that the inner seal has gone. So I don't know why that's happened. It might have been faulty manufacture of the original pump. It might be that it's been over pressurized and it's caused the pump to seal. So for the sake of, it's about 14-15 quid for a head gasket. I'm just going to whip the head off at the same time. It'll add 2 hours to the job, so it's not the end of the world, and I just get peace of mind that it's okay then. I've gone for a BK450 head gasket. There is a specific head gasket for an MPI Mini which is a very good head gasket, but BK450s are a very good gasket for a 1275 also. The only difference with the later MPI gasket is one of the oil seals at the end has a neoprene rubber seal in it, and this one doesn't, but that doesn't really cause much of an issue at all. But yeah, plain gaskets, they are good quality. So anyway, let me stop waffling on. We'll try and do this all in one episode. Let's start getting it stripped down, get the cooling system drained out, water pump off, we'll take the cylinder head off, and then we'll have a look what's going on. Right, that's the head off, so time for a quick recce, I guess. Try and see what's been going on. I haven't seen anything too obvious for the moment, apart from the water pump, so that's good news. If I look really closely at their block surface, obviously it's not perfect, but I can't see that any of the firings around the cylinders have been leaking. It's always darker at the back because the back of the engine's hotter. But I don't see any obvious signs where I might have had a head gasket leak or something like that. So I'm pretty pleased there. We'll clean that up, put a straight edge on it, just make sure all the stud holes are cleaned out. And I've taken the rad out, I've completely drained the cooling system, tried to get it out the heater matrix and everything as well. But this is where we've got the problem. So as you can see down here, there's water stains down on the timing cover. It's made a bit of a mess actually, but obviously quite evident that that's been leaking. And it's always leaked a little bit from day one, ever since I've done it. So I'm not saying the water pump was faulty to begin with, but it does make you wonder. Let's have a look at the head and the water pump. So first things first, looking at the head. So can you see this telltale sign here? So that's directly above the water pump pulley, and it's where the water pump's been spraying leaking coolant up onto the underside of the head. And if you look inside the water pump pulley, you can clearly see that that's been leaking. This is just like the residue the antifreeze leaves. When I look at the water pump itself, so this is the old pump, and you can see it has that sort of hole in the bottom of it, which is between the two bearings, and there's a water seal on this end. So when that seal goes, it starts dripping out the bottom of there. That then runs along, drips on the underside of the pulley, and then sprays it around everywhere. It's only ever been a very, very slight leak, but I can't see for what reason that's done that. As I say, that is it's a Mini Spares Evo water pump. That is same as the one I'm about to put back on, which has a composite impeller on it. It's lighter. It's meant to put less strain on the belt, on the pulleys, and it's meant to flow better. So not had a problem with them in the past. Looking at the head itself, again, it's a bit dirty, but I don't really see any major issues at all there. I can see a nice clean firing around every single cylinder. Maybe no, these are just gasket marks, so I can't see. I don't think the head gasket was a problem, but I think, you know, for the cost and it only takes a little bit of time to clean it up, it's worth doing. Quite surprised how much carbon there is in here already, actually. I suppose it gets lots of cold starts, but it's always run on super unleaded, so I'd have expected that to be cleaner. Right, now I've just got to get all the surfaces cleaned up and then we'll get it put back together. Right, so we've got our bits all cleaned up, ready to go back on. And under the bonnet, the block, I'll just clean that up, put a straight edge on it, there's no problems there. The water pump's now in. I've just cleaned up down this side. I'm not going to go mad, so I just spoke to fellow YouTuber Turbo Mini Cooper Sport, who has an immaculate MPI turboed Mini Cooper, and you cannot fault that car. It's absolutely immaculate under the bonnet. I just want to get this back together, so I'm not going to spend hours cleaning it. I'm not going to time lapse this bit, so I'll just plonk that head on, torque it up, and I'll rejoin you in a moment. Right, so as if by magic, it's all back together. New water pump on, new head gasket on, it's all torqued back up, tappets have been set. Next thing we're going to do, you'll notice there's no coolant in at the moment, so we're going to start it up and literally just run it for 1 minute. And I took some advice from some friends and engine builders that use these BK450 gaskets a lot, and the one thing I noticed with mine that I took off was it seemed to stick in a few places but not the whole way round, so I had to scrape obviously the old bit of gasket off the head. It comes coated, and that coating is like heat activated, so when it warms up it seals it up, and then the problem is if you put water in first and then run it up, the water can seep in to the gasket and stop that coating going off. So literally just run it for a minute, turn it off, let it cool right back down, fill it with coolant, bleed the cooling system up as normal, run it up to temperature, and then we'll turn it off again, let it cool overnight, and re-torque the head bolts. I don't know whether I've mentioned already, but the coolant, I'm going to be using Evans waterless coolant. Few reasons for it. I've never tried it before. Some people swear by it, some don't, and I just thought I would give it a go. The idea of having a coolant that doesn't boil at 100 degrees C, so there's no pressure in the system, I think it's probably better for the engine. I've done some research on it. It does not cool as well as plain water. You can't really beat plain water. You can add some additives to help it basically cling to the walls of the cylinders and inside the engine a bit better, but yeah, it doesn't cool quite as well as normal coolant, but we'll see how it goes. We'll give it a try. Right, let's get it started.